Welcome to Superhuman Customs, everybody. I'm your host, Stephen Human, and we got a fun one today. So I wasn't planning on getting steel because I already made a steel. He's right behind me, somewhere over in here. But when I saw this guy on Memorial Day and he was only like 16 bucks, I was like, you know what? I need to do one. I'm so much better on metallics than I was when I did that one. I was terrible. And so we're gonna spray paint this guy completely black. We're gonna do really cool metallics on him. And I think this is gonna be a quintessential steel figure. I'm very excited. Let's jump right in.
All right, sometimes I call an audible, and today is one of those days. After spray painting him, I saw someone in one of my groups that replaced the arms of this steel with the arms and legs of this armored Batman, and I think I should do it. This is actually Dashiell, my 6-year-old's Batman, and I asked him if he would mind if I switched out the arms and legs. He thought it was great, so we're going to switch them up, but I think this is going to add height and width to this steel, which is what he needs. I haven't gotten this arm on yet, so I'm getting ready to spray paint him, but I did want to mention I don't often remove the legs when I'm painting. The reason for that is because it's a giant pain in the butt to get them back on. And that was the case with this. Getting these off and then back on was hard. It was worth it for this, but generally when it's painting, it's easy enough to get up in those edges, and so, yeah. And then here's Batman. He looks like a thin Batman, but Dashiell doesn't care. He thinks it's awesome, so we're good. Oh, look how big he is. Now that is steel. Now I'm really excited for this guy. Let's get him metallic and make him look just awesome. So the paints we're going to use from here on out are this gunmetal gray. Then we're going to go up to this metallic silver, and then this lighter silver over the top. We're going to start with the gunmetal gray. It's the darkest tone, and that's how you want to go. We're going up from the black to the next darkest, which is the gunmetal gray, and I'm just going to take it and move it all over. But I'm also going to try and make sure that it doesn't get in all of the crevices. So this will be a little bit more of a dry brush because I want the black to shine through in certain places. That's what's going to give you the details. So this part is just about putting the gunmetal gray, dusting it on, getting it over everything, and it's really simple. Got a big brush, and that's just how you do it. Just enjoy this part as it starts to change. And then everything we do to the figure, we're going to do the exact same thing to the hammer. So gunmetal gray, darker silver, lighter silver. So just when you got the paint out, move over to the hammer and just get in there, make sure it doesn't get in the cracks just like the figure, and it'll have the same tones. That's what you want. Now we're moving on to the slightly lighter silver, the craft paint silver. And we got a smaller brush because we're going to hit different areas of the figure. This is going to be more of a dusting too, but I want to keep the dark in some of the areas and go lighter in some of the other areas. So as you can see, I'm going to leave all of that in there dark, and we're going to hit these other areas and do the highlights there. So we're just going to bring the color up a little bit, and you'll start to see the difference as you move through. And now you'll start to see the difference between the light and the dark, and that's what you want. And if that contrast isn't as much as you want it to be, you can go through with a wash a little bit later. But don't do that until you've got all of these layers in place, so you can really see how things are starting to look together as you're lightening some things and darkening others. Now he's all dry, he's looking really good. Now we're going to take the really light silver, and we're just going to go over again the areas that we want it to be lighter, and we're going to dust again. Like I'm going to hit the face here, and you can see how in the face there's the different layers. There's the stuff that would have been touched and rubbed, and so it's lighter, it's almost polished, and then everything else has the darker tone. So at the end of the day, when you do this, you have 3 tones of silver, and it makes the metallics really, really pop. It's going to give you the best look, for sure. And you're just lightly going over everything so that it doesn't clump, and then they just a light coat so you can see the layers underneath, and it makes it look like real metal. now I'm going to go through and I'm going to hit some of these edges so that they look like they've been scraped and scratched and rubbed as he's walked into a room. And that adds the contrast. It makes things look just more real. And you want to have some areas that are dull and some areas that are sharp and polished. This is how you do it. So don't be afraid to go through and hit these edges with a little bit thicker layer of paint, and it'll really make a difference. You've seen it how I've done it on the Azrael Batman a month or so ago, and that's all I'm doing here. You can do a couple dabs in some place, and that's what it takes to add that sort of standout, that look that you want. Sometimes you just have to add a little bit more and just dump a glob on there, and it'll look good. Trust me. Now these areas I want to have a little bit darker. So I'm going to go through with a little bit of wash and just hit them and move it around. I don't want it to be too much. I'm just using my standard Vallejo game wash. But you can see how it darkens things up. And as long as you don't do too much, then it's going to look the way you want it to. I want contrast here, but I don't want too much contrast. I don't want the metallic to get dulled. And so if I do a nice light coat, the metallic will shine through and it'll give me the look that I want. You might want it to go darker. That's your choice. But this is how you do it. You ready? Now we have what is considered by most customizers and myself as the most difficult thing about a custom figure, and that is the eyes. Oh, look at that. That is perfect. All I'm doing is taking a drop of white on a toothpick and I'm going to dab it. So let's see if we can get this. I'm using my magnifying glass. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, did this work? Oh, that looks pretty good. It doesn't need any more than that. That's perfect. Oh, I feel good. And now the last big part we have is the cape. We are not leaving the cape white because his cape was never white. I don't know why they did white on this, so we're going to paint it red. In this lighting, actually, it looks a little bit orange, but this is in fact red. This is just a standard, I believe it's called Blood Red from Vallejo. So this is red and not orange. Trust me. So I'm just going to go through and get coverage, hit all the edges, and this makes a huge difference right off the bat when you're doing this.
This guy turned into a beast. I'm so glad I saw that picture and then remembered that I had that armored Batman. And I talked to Dashiell and he didn't care. So he thinks he's got like ninja arms now. So he thinks it's even better. This guy for sure is better with these arms and legs. I love this steel now. He's just big and beefy. He actually looks like a guy in a suit, as opposed to how he looked originally where, I got him I got him discounted. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's metallicize him. Now I'm really excited about him because he stands out on the shelf. He's bigger than everybody else. And that's how steel should be when he's in his suit. Thank you guys so much for watching. I always appreciate your comments. If you got tips for me, give them because I'm always learning from you guys. Thank you so much. And check out StephenHuman.com. Check out Quimbleys.com if you're a gamer. I'm Stephen Human. I'll see you next week.